All right, start the Q&A.
Uh, so Jai, thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
your presentation. And
Thank you.
I noticed one thing, and I just want to appreciate it. You have a beautiful voice, and
Thank
someday
you. Thank you so much.
you should be think of becoming a radio jockey. You will catch the attention of many
Thank
people.
you.
And if at all you are using your own voice for your own app, please do use it. It is very
Will do.
captivating.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do that.
Okay. I have a
Yes.
couple of questions.
Sure.
One problem which we normally face, where there is a lot of traffic, particularly
Right.
on Saturdays and Sunday, where the people gathering is very very high. So around
True.
some very famous mall or movie theater or a railway station
Correct.
or or a jam-packed market, right?
Correct.
So where whatever whichever the service provider you use, you don't
Mm-hmm.
get a cab. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
your portal keeps on moving and then finally drop, and it will take another 5 minutes, another five minutes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and 20 minutes like that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then you try on a multiple platform and
Correct.
similar
Correct.
issues, right?
Correct.
And you have to
Correct.
wait for the cab for an hour sometime.
Correct.
Uh, your I don't know whether you are addressing this issue in your uh, app or not. I have
Got
not
it.
seen it,
Got it.
but if you
Got
are,
it.
then you need to demonstrate it
Perfect.
because then
So
it will create a value. That's question number one.
definitely. Got
Question
it.
number two is your aggregator, right?
Correct.
So essentially, you are also creating a overhead,
Correct.
right? But
Correct.
overhead is the business which does not run for a longer period. So, how
Mm-hmm.
are you going to add value to the
Mm-hmm.
customer and to the service provider?
Okay. Got it. So to answer about your first question, essentially the whole product came because of a backstory. So I used to travel 25 kilometers, and I stay in Bangalore. Right, both of us, both Ansh and I, studied at the same college, and I used to travel 25 kilometers up and down every single day. And peak traffic in the evenings in the Bangalore, you cannot book a ride. Right, and I had a 64 GB iPhone 11, so I had to bounce between different web applications, add storage only for one app, so it was a hassle. And the whole point of our application is to essentially address what problem that you had asked, your question, right? See, now essentially what people do is they book it on Uber, Ola, Rapido, Namayati, four apps predominantly that they use. But what about the other eight applications that are there? They have cab fleets. They have the bookings available. They have cabs are available, but why are people not able to reach them? Right? Agreed. There is a shortage of demand during peak hours, and there needs to be more cabs. But what we're essentially trying to do is essentially optimize the essential resources that we have already, right? So now, let's say Uber, Ola, Rapido, and Namayatri are all busy at 7 p.m. in the evening. All the IT guys are getting out; they want to go home. Then we have the other eight applications and MOUs that we've signed who kind of come into the play. So it's not just four applications that we're showing. There are a lot more aggregators on this game, and we're trying to essentially decentralize this market, right? And on top of all of it, because we're from Bangalore, we have a lot of local aggregators with 15 fleets, 20 fleets that are there, but they don't have the budget for marketing. We have them on our app because it's clearly not brand value. It's about the demand for the rides, right? Even whether it's 15, 20 minutes short distance rides. So that is number one. Number two, talking about the whole aggregator of aggregators business model that we have. See, there are a lot of people who have tried this, right? Essentially, what we're doing is we're the Trivago, but for a domestic mobility and domestic aspects. So in terms of sustaining this, we understand this is not a long-term sustenance game that we're playing. That's why I mentioned that mobility is something we're looking only for the next 18, 24 months. We look to enter this market, eventually pan out to you know the quick commerce, the food delivery, etc. Now on top of that, in terms of the mobility, what is our additional moat that we have is if you go to Goa, Coorg, Darjeeling, you don't find cabs, especially not on applications. It's all via ground, right? Uh, but these places actually have an app that the government supports, but they're not marketed enough because of the taxi mafia, etc. That is there. Now, we have also signed MOUs with these governments. We're in talks actually, and we'll start integrating these. So where there's another $10 billion of cab market that is not being touched, we want to tap into that. So if any, let's say, foreigner or anyone that comes for vacation in India does not need to pay 1,000 rupees for a 100 rupees ride, right? And there's no argument. That is another moat that we have in the mobility sector. But I believe, yes, the whole aggregator of aggregators is going to be a tough play based on our business and the supply of whatever revenue is coming solely generating via another third-party company that is there. But essentially, our goal is to come in fast and expand fast as well. Ensure that all of India utilizes one app for essentially everything.
Okay, so Jay, I don't know how this is going to be feasible,
Okay.
but you know what I am looking for. Maybe I may be wrong, but if I am a service provider, say for example Uber or Ola, I
Okay.
also want to increase my business, and if you are helping me doing that, I'll be very happy joining you. Right?
Correct.
It's a
Correct.
symbiotic relationship.
Correct. Correct.
Now, if you get me a data points
Mm-hmm.
where you are telling me that my revenue will be higher at
Mm-hmm.
particular time, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and if you
Mm-hmm.
provide me this data that if you
Mm-hmm.
go to XYZ mall on this particular time, your cab
Mm-hmm.
will be hired quickly and you will get a
Mm-hmm.
higher. It's a demand and supply rule, right? So
Correct.
more the
Correct.
demand, more the money, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
if you can provide those analytics back to me saying that, look, these are the
Mm-hmm.
area where
Mm-hmm.
the demand is very high, and you will
Mm-hmm.
get more money for running the same kilometer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to joining you because you are adding value to my uh,
Companies.
business, my
Correct.
transaction, right?
Correct. Correct.
And
Correct.
you are already seeing how the traffic is moving around, and you are collecting that data and telling that,
Correct.
look guys, go to XYZ mall now, there is a very high demand.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
uh, Uber and Ola might not do it. They might have analytics sitting behind those engines, right? But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
other providers, which is the smaller ones, right,
Mm-hmm.
younger ones, they might need this data, and they will be
Definitely.
able to get this.
Definitely. Definitely.
Uh, I I was looking for that answer. That what are you
Okay.
doing on using those analytics?
Got it. Got it.
So
Understood.
you got a value there. Come up with
Mm-hmm.
those value ideas. That look, if you join
Got
my
it.
idea, then this is the value
Mm-hmm.
I will provide. You
No.
will earn more money
Mm-hmm.
on per kilometer if you go through
Mm-hmm.
my app. I'm happy joining you.
Got it. Understood. So to actually answer that question, right, in terms of data of where this heavy traffic is, essentially currently we've done a field survey in the tech parks in Bangalore. So in the north, you have the Manyata Tech Park, or in Koramangala, you have a small tech park, and HSR is the startup hub. So these are places with very, very high volume, especially morning 8 to 10 o'clock, 8 to 11 o'clock, and in the evening from 5 to 7, 5 to 8. Right, these are heavy traffic. Now, in terms of getting these aggregators, see, we already have Ola, Uber in our platform. We spoke to them, and in terms of the driver end, the driver is not going to face any losses. For him, it's just a customer giving a ride. Essentially, why Ola and Uber have come is not because of of course, it is of course about driving revenue, but until now, all of their APIs were secured. They did not even give it out to the public because they know there is no benefit for us. To be very honest, but currently they're doing that only because ONDC has stepped into the game. They are forced to give out their APIs because already Uber is in ONDC. You have Rapido in ONDC. You have Namayatri in ONDC. If we have three of the biggest players out of the four on ONDC, it's only about time. And now Ola is also in talks with ONDC. But before Ola could even come in, because I used to work under Bhavish for some time, I got it done. We got an MOU signed with Ola as well, and that's why we're able to give this set percentages out, right? So we're purely here not to, we're of course here to improve efficiency in terms of operations of that company as well. Because a lot of times what happens, a customer books a ride, three of them accept, they'll wait for the guy who comes, and the driver has to travel the 1.5 kilometer, 2 kilometer, and there's a gas station, right? Rather, we'll give you a confirmed ride. Don't book 10 times, right? So that's essentially what we're doing. So drivers also get that peak efficiency. And in time, we want to tap into the driver API as well, because we know every driver has 3 apps, 4 apps on their phone, and they're driving for all of these aggregators. We want to create a unified platform even for the drivers as well in time as we gain traction and get it from the companies. So this is essentially what we're doing in terms of data. These companies, especially Ola and Uber, did not need data of high centric places. The smaller cab aggregators, they know. Because in Bangalore, even if you book at 2 o'clock, which is very low, still there'll be some places where there are no cabs. That is essentially what we're trying to address, right? And even in terms of the night, between 12 to 4, right, whoever goes clubbing comes back, especially women. We have signed up an MOU with Pink Cabs as well. So Pink Cabs is something that's very specific for women as well, right? They have a small business, 15, 20 cabs, that's it. But this is the peak hours for them. We've already informed them. So we're already doing all of this. So currently, we're running as per what the demands are required and are set to launch.
Okay. So, Jay, can you explain
Mhm,
your revenue model in the sense how will you get, say, if you get 100 rupee revenue,
mhm.
how you will spend it, and what is your
Got it.
margin looks like, and also what is your plan to improve your revenue efficiency
Mhm, mhm.
over the next 4 5 years?
4 5 years. Got it.
I mean,
So,
essentially, the question is that, if I put 100 rupees in your company, what
mhm.
the valuation it will achieve
Got it.
on.
See, essentially, what we're doing is so in terms of our revenue, 70% of the revenue comes via these commissions. The remaining 30% is split via the convenience fee, the revenue, ad revenues, the tech licensing, etc. So this is the split between the revenue. Now, for from the aggregators, if let's say I'm getting 100 rupees, I'm getting 15 rupees per. That's what I'm earning, right? Now, in this 15 rupees, the cost that is incurred essentially very high is the marketing expense because we know that this is a game of acquiring users initially. Technically, since we already have a grant with covered there, at least for the next 1 year, right? In terms of operational efficiency, as time goes through, I think we'll figure out better technical infrastructure to cut costs. That's it. And as time goes on as well, we'll and users are coming in, it becomes very easy on marketing as well because we understand the initial expense would be quite high. So in terms of cutting costs, let's say out of 100 rupees, we're netting probably around 80 rupees currently. But of course, this price has to be even more efficient as time passes on, as users come in and cost gets cut down. And even technically, we'll take in a couple of steps to actually improve the technical infrastructure that we have of the application.
Are you also seeking a customer feedback on that, likewise what Ola and Uber doing it?
Yes, yes. So we are
On
actually we
every transactions which is happening.
no no. No. So okay. So are you asking? So I'm sorry if I didn't understand the question right. So are you asking about
Okay,
the transaction? Yeah.
yeah, I have done a transaction. Okay, and
Hmm.
like Ola and Uber, they always ask for a feedback, and we have to
Correct.
give a star, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
similar way, are you doing it? Because I have not seen it in your app.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you
What he's
collecting
asking is on
feedback?
the booking. Are you taking feedback? That's what he means.
Oh, booking. Yeah, yeah, of course. See, essentially the 5-star booking, whatever rating comes on the driver, the rating that you give will go to Uber or Ola, whichever ride that you get provided. In terms of our application, we have another rating system that we occasionally pop up onto your application, how is your experience going, etc., etc. And there's a small comment section to actually put in your reviews as well. So even right now, while we were designing the UX, so what you saw was a version 1. So right now we are working on a 1.1, which is going to launch in the next 45, 60 days. So for that, we've done an entire UX research for almost 45 days, where we got hold of almost 300 people, made them fill X number of forms, questions, including, the UI of how icons should be placed, where they should be placed based on the customer's thumb impressions. We've gone this detailed into, getting feedback and trying to improvise what are the existing UIs that are in the market, right? So yes, we are looking at customer feedback as well.
Yeah, to
Okay,
add on to
but
Jay, what he just said. Yeah. So to add on to what he said, so essentially the app is like how you give rating to a driver, particular driver. You not only give it to the driver but also to the provider. So if it's like Uber and Ola, so if you found something very specifically unique about it, you can write a comment quickly about it. Like there will be like prompts like that it was great or something. But if you are giving 1 star, it's going to ask you why would you do that, and we report that to the provider. It also helps them to improve their business and also helps our consumer to like see that whether we are caring about them as well. And we also occasionally pop up like ratings, how you're liking the app and what is the feedback and all. And we like promotional events and other emailers. So that is what right now from the technical side we are doing.
yeah, and Jay and Ans, I have one suggestion. Do you agree with me that voice is a new UI.
Voice,
Voice
like
is a
voice
new
assistants.
UI. No, yeah, it is a new user interface, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, are you going to incorporate in your app to differentiate yourself from other? You are not using voice as a
Currently,
UI.
no. Currently, no, because not a lot of users are very open to voice as a UI because it's still very new and recent. So currently, no, but I think we will definitely start taking suggestions from users who are on the app itself to try and integrate this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you, Mindesh. Thank you, sir.
All right, next question, Sashikant. By the way, Shashikant and I are in Bangalore.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah, and
Lovely.
Jay, nice job, guys. I really appreciate the initiative, and indeed, the app looks very promising.
Hmm.
It definitely serves a lot of purpose, especially in cities like metros, especially Bangalore, where
Yeah.
daily commute is definitely a hassle. I myself have been facing this. I think
Yeah.
every part of Bangalore is crowded. Yeah, any
Essential.
day, and
Yes.
cab, yeah, cab is definitely a way forward. If you don't want to drive and all that, so that's good. Now, a few questions in terms of your application that you built.
Hmm.
I heard that I don't remember if it's Ansh or Jay mentioned
Hmm.
that you are not doing web scraping. So web scraping probably you might not need here because the kind of aggregators that you have or the service providers that you have are not that very high. Yeah, if it's e-commerce, then I understand, and
Hmm.
your API integration also increases. So are you still doing web scraping or no, or are you doing a API integration?
API integrations.
We are
So
completely on APIs.
Have you
So our
paid?
application, I'm sorry, sir.
You paid the aggregators for the APIs?
No, no, nothing. So it
you
was
just
like
have to.
initially, so like how it was in our tech. So initially we started with a model that we want to do something similar. So we were more specific into the solution, how we can do it. First thing that popped into me and Jay's mind, okay, we have to steal data out of websites because of course they are not going to give us API. So who are we? We are not going to be recognized by them. So we
Mm,
tried directly approaching them, but at that time it was not a success. So instead we started scraping like data out of the websites like Uber and Ola. So what the problem was, like, you have to authenticate yourself and you have to store your their cookie in your app so that
yeah.
the person doesn't have to send the OTP again and again and again. That's a hassle every day to do, right? So what we did instead was, like, we just had a model pilot. We just wanted to see whether the model works out or not. I gave it to my friends. Jay gave it to his friends, and we checked out whether the idea is even whether it's a solution or not, like whether what we are doing makes sense or not. So we saw like somewhere around like up to people are saving up to 25%, and then we were like, no, we can do make maybe we can do something out of it. And then ONDC came into play. So in September last year, so ONDC we have heard of it in Magic Pin and Ola, how they deliver food. So they had recently like opened a beta, like I guess 5 months before that, and a lot of providers joined it, all including Uber, Everybody joined ONDC, and like people started they started integrating their apps into it for various purposes. And the ride hailing app, they were a lot, but because of technical difficulties, a lot of apps could not, and they quit in the middle. And it took us somewhere around from September till January right now. And right now we are, as we are speaking right now, we are getting live on the network of ONDC. So you have the option of Namma Yatri, Yatri Sathi, then Quick Ride, which is the airport taxi, chauffeur, and and two or three more others in different states
Few
of
more.
India. Yeah, so you have Uber also, but Uber is going to come like another some time in 1 or 2 months because their platform is under development for ONDC. That is also under place, but the MOU is signed, and we have with the MOU signed with Ola, which has said ki if once we cross the benchmark of 50,000 downloads, we are gonna like onboard. We can onboard officially Ola as our provider as well. So yeah, that is us right now. We are just
That's basically how we got the big players into it. Play. Um,
exactly.
it
We got
was
the
it
beta
was
pilot.
timing.
Good. What's your education background, Jay and Ansh? What do you guys study?
So about me, so right now I completed my bachelor's in computer science and application last year, and right now I'm doing my master's MSc. As I am speaking, I'm right now in my college, so that is why a lot of noise because
Hmm.
people went out of the classes, so you can hear a little
Okay.
bit people chattering outside. But yeah, so I'm in my master's first year.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially, Ansh goes to college only on the weekends. So during the weekdays, he's working full time on work, and during the weekends, he goes to college 3 4 hours every day, Saturday and Sunday. About me, I completed my undergraduation at BBA, Christ University. Currently, full time into Bob, working outside as well as a business consultant part time. So that's my background. And back in college, also, I had founded another company in the manufacturing sector. So we were making the bar soap holders. So we created a patented technology that makes a bar soap last longer and stay fresher. So we signed the MOU with KSDL and we closed that deal at a valuation of 43 crores. Then I stepped out. My co-founder of the company is still in the company, so he's functioning that, and now I'm full time into Bob.
Okay. Okay. Good. And what about your tech stack? What is that you're using? Are you just having a mobile app for the iOS and Android, or do you also have a web version?
We have for both iOS and Android because when we launch, launch both of them together. And for web, right now we are in the security compliance area. So I wanted my application to be more secure on the backend side because there are a lot of stability. Is because it is not enough for the backend to work. It also has to be secure enough for us to protect our rights and the data of the consumer. So web app will come in another 1 or 2 months because of course that's in our project line. We have to have the web app out. But yeah, so for the first thing that is coming out is the app on your mobile.
The mobile apps. The mobile apps. So
Yeah.
what is the MVP? When are you intending to launch it? By what date is that? Or do you already have any app
So
on the Play Store and yeah, and any downloads that you have?
got it. So essentially, on the wait list, we have a couple of people. So before we go live on the Play Store, because the ONDC and there's a NP account, right? So that's a special purpose bank account. So they're right now communicating. So that'll take another 3 weeks for a full public launch. But I think in another 2 days, we're going to be launching it to all the wait list guys who are there. There are around 300, 400 people on the wait list. So they'll get early access to the application. So we have their emails and we'll give them access. So the first version will be out here. And this version does not have the fastest booking option. This version only has the
Compare.
prices that shows you can compare.
Mm-hmm.
The fastest booking option will probably come out only in maybe late March or early April. So that's
Mitesh,
basically what we're looking at.
Mitesh, wait for a photograph in the end. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So this is basically it, sir.
All right. So, any other questions, Ashikant?
I think the revenue projections is what I wanted to understand. And,
Okay.
and anyway, they are
So
now
I will ask that. I will
pre-revenue.
ask that. I will
But
ask that.
yeah, sure, sure.
Any other
Then I'm
questions
good.
from anyone?
I'm good.
All right. So, what is the full form of Bob? It looks like book a bus.
It's bridging omni-channel benefits.
Bridging what?
Omni-channel benefits.
Bridging omni-channel benefits. So you seriously are getting into food business and all the other things. By the way, yesterday, as I was saying in the beginning, I was in Chancery Hotel, and there somebody was presenting about what is going to be the future, and what is it, the technologies that will. He was saying that food business is done. I mean, Zomato, Swiggy, they have done it. You don't
Quick
want to be
commerce,
there.
it's
You
coming
don't
up.
want to be there because they are going to eat you alive. So up to
Yeah.
you. What works for you should is what you should pursue. Now, the second question I want to very quickly ask. I wanted to talk about your age, but I think you can describe yourselves.
hmm
Um, Now, you said you got a grant from Microsoft.
hmm
So, have you already got it? What is it is like?
Yeah, it's in a cloud right now. So we have almost 2 crores in just Azure storage.
Or you have storage.
Yeah. We got
It's
cloud
not the money.
grants.
It's not the money.
It's not physical money that we can use for marketing. It's rather on the cloud. So we don't have to spend any technical money.
I'm sorry, 2 crores of what?
Cloud
Credits,
storage?
credits
Two.
for technical use.
Oh, okay, I got it. I got it. So that's what my AWS also gives and all that, whatever
Yeah,
they
yeah, but
also
it's
give.
Yeah,
related
but
to Microsoft, so that's Azure
This is
for that.
Microsoft. I got it. I got it. So I was like,
we have AWS as well. We have, I think, around $25,000 in AWS as well.
yeah. I know. I get all that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was director of cloud and infrastructure services for Wipro.
Oh, wow.
So I get
Oh,
all that. I used to present all this.
perfect, perfect.
I get it. I get it. Now, so you were asking 650K. What is the valuation?
We're currently valuing the company at 40 crores, around 38, 40 crores. That's essentially what we're valuing the company at. We're looking at the projection of revenue within this year at
That's
30
five
crores.
million dollars. It's 5 million US dollars. Is it?
Approximately. It's slightly lesser than that.
All right.
Slightly lesser
So
than that.
those were my questions. Now coming to the revenue part, I'm asking on behalf of Shashikant. What is the third year revenue that you're looking at?
So we're essentially looking to grow at anywhere crossing 400 crores in revenue, anywhere. Because, like you had mentioned, sir, we don't want to become a food aggregator. We want to aggregate food aggregators, right? So it's not starting a Swiggy or a Zomato.
But
It's having
see,
Swiggy and Zomato.
in your case, you are going to make the money and you are going to give it back to those guys, the aggregators. Because at the end of the day, cars belong to them.
Correct.
Or rather,
Essentially, that is what.
so they are already
Correct.
charging 30%. How is it that you're going to keep the cost low? And how are you going to make money?
So we are charging that 5% from these guys.
Yeah,
They're
but
not charging anything from us. Yeah.
no, I know, but Ola and all that will not reduce their commissions, right?
They're not going to reduce. They'll keep it at 5%.
So
itself.
5% gets added on the. You think the people are going to pay that?
It is already coming from the margins that they have. So Ola is having almost 25% margins currently. So
So
upon
how will
those
you make
margins, they're giving a
400 crore?
5%.
Because this market is not so big, right? I mean, there is so much in the market, right? Ola, all these big players have already done squeeze the lemon. Are you not going to further squeeze the lemon which has already been squeezed? What are you going to get out of it? You getting
No,
what
we
I'm
are.
trying to say, or am I something that I'm not able to explain, or maybe I understood you wrongly? I mean, that's
So
something
I
that.
would like to add up to Jay what he means actually. So the thing is we are making kind of a cycle for consumers. So for example, I am because brand loyalty of something does not exist in the market very more. But anyway, I have an app of Ola on my app, and I don't want the inconvenience to download at that time when I need the taxi the most. I'll open it, I'll just book it. But on my app, when you install it, my consumer shift between multiple providers, so it is not stuck on one. So you cannot say ever that Uber's price is
Yeah,
going to
I
be
got that. I got that. So let's say out of 100 rupees that you make,
yeah,
you'll
sure.
keep 5 rupees. You'll give 35 to Ola. How much are they charging Ola guys as commissions?
Okay, understood. So,
So that is
okay,
my question. You're not making
okay,
money. It's the same money you are
understood,
charging some money. So how are you going to
understood.
become 400 crores? Aren't you
I'll
not
tell
getting
you
my
this.
point?
No, no,
I got you, sir. I got you, sir. Okay, I book a ride via Ola using Bob. 100 rupees is the ride, right? Ola's cut in this is, I think, around 25 rupees, 30 rupees, right? That is their margin. On this 25 and 30 rupees is what they're going to give us 5 rupees. This is how this works.
Why will
So
they give
we
you
are
5
not,
rupees?
because already ONDC has done this, right? ONDC has come into the play and they changed the game. So this is basically
ONDC is a
affiliates.
ONDC is a government platform. That doesn't if Ola says that, hey, look, I am
Mm-hmm,
not going to give you any money.
mm-hmm,
Because why should I reduce unless you are so powerful that you can arm twist Ola? Well, that's something
mm-hmm.
that remains to be seen.
Definitely. I get what you're saying, sir. So see, essentially in the long term, this is our power, right? This is
Okay,
essentially what
all
our
right.
go through is.
So
We want to
that's
twist.
how
But
you
currently,
plan to arm twist these big guys,
we
assuming
have
that your
to.
brand is going to be so strong in the next 3 years. That's what you're trying to
Yeah,
tell me today. Correct?
essentially. Correct.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So
All right.
because we spoke to Aditya, sir, he's the founder of Akasar, ex-CEO of Indigo. So he mentioned that, back when he was with Make My Trip, he kind of cut out the API calls,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
But
yeah.
at
There are a
this,
lot of guys who can arm twist. The point is, are you guys
exactly.
have the you guys don't
Yes,
look like
we
arm
are.
twisting anyone, but maybe you guys in a few years
That
become
is
monsters
always
and
that has
start to
always been
arm
the
twist
plan.
people.
That has always
Because you're
been the
so
plan.
sweet, actually.
It might look sweet, sir, but
Yeah, no,
definitely
no, no.
not.
I get it. I get what you're saying. So, all right, guys. With that, is there any other last questions? Otherwise, I will just stop the recording. All right.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, so the last thing that I have to add, I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah,
add
please,
something to
please
this.
go ahead.
So, as you just Jay mentioned some time back, we have two models with us. So, one is the compare one, and one is the fastest mode. So, fastest mode give you any ride across all the platforms, whichever driver accepts the first one. So, it's like we give request to all the providers. They from their platform, whichever driver accepts the first, we give it to the user because you want a taxi at the moment. So now what we do is in that segment we are charging you a premium because now we are looking for convenience and not compare. So not only we are getting commission out of it, we are also charging you a convenience fee out of it. So that comes at a premium. So yeah, so that is also a segment which we are looking at. But compare is something that we have to get just convenience because people are because they are there for that. They want to save the money.
Also, Sanjeev sir, another thing. So you had mentioned about Ola and Uber squeezing the market, right? So let's say India has a cab market of $20 billion approximately, right? Ola, Uber, Rapido, all of these guys have managed to only squeeze around $7.5 billion. So there is another $12.5 billion market that's untapped, right? And
Yeah,
that
but
is the
these are,
market.
but those are in rural areas.
Correct, correct. Those are in rural areas, but that is
Yeah,
essentially
that is
what we are trying
difficult
to
to
do.
crack, anyways.
Essentially, but eventually, as the time goes on, we'll start our own fleet as well at these
All right,
areas.
I got it. I
But
got it.
currently,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
there
yeah,
are.
Tarun, any questions from your side?
Yeah. Uh, Jay and Ansh, my on
Mhm.
is that when you are building a aggregator of aggregator kind of platform and you resist from saying that this is only for a short.
So your voice is cracking up. I'm
So
not
your
able.
voice is cracking. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm better.
better. Yeah.
Okay. So my piece of advice was, if you are out seeking funds, whatever be the fancy stuff that you are proposing, never ever say that you are in this game for a shorter duration.
Okay.
I, as an
Got it.
investor, would not be inclined to invest on founders
Mm-hmm.
who do not have their go to market or the product market fit correct. So, if you're
Mm-hmm.
still iterating,
Mm-hmm.
then might as well try your MVP, see that it meets your requirement or not,
Mm-hmm.
rather
Mm-hmm.
than going out to the market and then look, you can always pivot. Pivoting is very different and it is for a different purpose. But
Mm-hmm.
you cannot get into a market segment
Mm-hmm.
with the idea of pivoting at that point in time. So, what you will be doing is you'll not be focusing on this line of business, but your entire
Mm-hmm.
vision would be, or your entire growth strategy would be that I am going to pivot in next. Now the countdown or the ulti ginti has started.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
resist or
Okay.
desist from giving this kind of a thing. Otherwise, what happens
Understood.
is when I'm sitting here, now I'm confused or now I'm in a dilemma that should I
Mm-hmm.
invest in these guys? Youngsters have
Mm-hmm.
got a very good thing. They are doing
Mm-hmm.
everything right. But,
Mm-hmm.
but there is something which doesn't add up because
Correct. The
their
sustenance plan.
skin is not in the game. They are
Correct.
looking to, at the first opportunity, they will jump out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is
Uh,
something that you should probably
I
sugarcoat
understood.
it, probably give out your vision,
Understood.
which you intend
Understood.
doing in a better
Mm-hmm.
manner, so that
Correct.
people get aligned to that vision. And this is the direction that you have taken to achieve that ultimate goal.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Sure. I
So,
think I would like
if
to
I may add,
clarification. One clarification. So I guess what Jay meant to say was this is not the only model which we are looking to be in. Pivoting, definitely, that's also something that businesses do and essentially just to survive. But we are not pivoting. Our model is straight out. Right now, we are in mobility sector, and this requirement is never going to stop, and you know that. For the last 10 years, have been having the same problem. It's just the technology was introduced to us late, and now we are suffering because we have got so much of convenience. Now we want more convenience. This is never going to stop. But essentially, in our product roadmap, and as we essentially scale by the end of December this year, what we are looking for is to have into e-commerce as well. So e-commerce website where we go aggregating as well. So this is what will remain and will never change. But
yeah,
that will add up to our model. That's essentially what
we're
Jay.
not going to remove the mobility aspect
Never.
just because we're starting a food delivery aspect. So ultimately, we want to build a super app, but a super app that's positioned well in the market. Why is super apps failing in India? It's one, because of the complex UI, it's not fit with the culture. And two, it's because of the market, right? You never position your brand and target your audience correctly. Like even when Instamart was opened in Swiggy, people are confused. So we want to go at this in the right way, positioning the market and targeting the right audience at the right time.
The another thing is, if you
Hmm.
quick commerce is not everyone's cup of tea.
True.
It isn't.
Very true.
So, if you're going to be a mother of all quick commerce, then again, do your mathematics well. Because, for a young founder like you, I can understand that you have got a lot of years ahead of you where you can iterate and everything. But look it from an investor's perspective.
Hmm.
Swiggy is burning. Zepto has burned enough and they revived because there was a fresh round of funding.
Correct.
The only saving grace for Zomato is Blinkit, but we all know it. Amazon for donkey's years has not made profits, and
They
so
haven't.
is for Flipkart.
Correct.
So
They
what is the
haven't.
line of business that these companies are doing? There is something else that they are doing.
Correct.
What are you going to do in that particular? So, what is your blue ocean in this red ocean? You have to be very clear about it. I'm not saying that this is not the space where you should operate, but what is the value proposition which you will be either getting for your clients or for your investors?
Understood.
Otherwise, you are one more startup which is getting into this fray with a
Yeah.
different aggregator model. So, a mother of all aggregators still remains an aggregator only, no?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So the point is that fine, you might be the Go Ibobo or the Trivago of the mobility space.
Yeah.
Hats off for that. But the point is, for how long and what is the value proposition? If the end user, me as a client, if I end up paying 5% more,
Hmm.
then I'm
What
I'm
are you
happy
getting?
using Uber.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And if that particular thing is going to get out of driver's commission, because Uber is not going to reduce his commission, then
Yeah.
driver
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
change the platform.
Correct. Correct. Understood. Correct.
So the point
And
is that value
ask me, nobody wants to pay 5% more. Forget 5%,
Correct.
even
absolutely,
1 rupee more. If I
Correct.
absolutely.
Correct.
charged even a rupee for this call, nobody will come.
I agree. I
Jay,
agree.
I'll tell you, I work with a lot of startups. When I go to these incubation centers and the T hubs and the IDACs of the world, most of the startup founders, they have couple of these apps installed on their mobile phones,
Correct.
and their initial journey is कि मैं किस में 50 रुपए बचा रहा हूँ या मेरे को कहाँ पे ज्यादा प्रोमो डिस्काउंट मिल रहा है.
Agreed. Agreed. College
Because
students.
nobody
Agreed.
has got money. You only have money when you start getting funded, and
Correct.
and then the other extreme is that the moment you start getting funded, the bugger goes and buys a Lamborghini. So that is the other extreme. so,
Right.
We are getting recorded, huh? I also said a lot of things. I'm worried to put this.
so the point is means apart from the lighter conversation that we were trying to make the environment a bit more friendly, is that value proposition is very important both for the client and the investors. As
Understood.
a startup,
Understood.
you have to have both these people who are on the opposite end of the spectrum. So you have
Correct.
to keep both of them happy.
Both of them happy. Right.
And
So,
that is where your Waterloo is going to be. And in
correct.
this competitive landscape where you are operating, you cannot keep on adding to the cost.
Correct.
Adding
Agreed.
cost
Agreed.
means certain segment goes out.
Agreed. Agreed. Uh, Sir, one thing is we understand the whole price sensitivity. Both of us come from middle class families, so we understand the whole jugaad efficiency of how things are running. Even right now, what would probably take us 6 lakhs to build an MVP has taken us under that, definitely under that. Right. So we understand the whole
Jay,
cost
middle
cutting thing,
class,
and
after this budget, middle class has shifted 12 lakhs
हाँ तो
of income tax. So
तभी हम मिडिल
you
क्लास
are
नहीं
upper
है.
middle class now.
ठीक है. Upper middle class after college, all
If
right.
you pay
But
taxes, if your parents pay taxes or you pay taxes, you have become upper middle class.
हाँ ठीक है. We're upper middle class now after the new budget policy that has come out. But essentially, we're not in here to buy a Lamborghini. But I think, like you had mentioned, we could start off as an Ibibo or a Trivago, but eventually the whole goal is to become a WeChat, right? That is where we want to go. Now, regardless of us trying to do a pivotal vision, which is definitely not there. Our roadmap is quite clear. But if you would ask us what we're doing 5, 6, 7 years down the line, we'd want to enter into fintech. We'd want to enter
Tarun,
into the
one
other
second, Jay.
aspects.
Tarun, I think he is spoiling his pitch. He now has pivoted to WeChat now. So
No,
I
that is
think
what I'm
I think
saying.
this conversation is getting longer. I
Yes.
will do one
So,
thing, Jay.
so, so
Tarun
what we
is,
do is,
yeah, yeah.
Jay,
I
what
think
you do?
offline,
Yeah.
you guys, you need to work with Tarun because he's very, very smart in keeping the discussion focused.
Definitely, will
And
do.
Jay, don't try to do too many things. Sometimes you lose. Or you remember in Shark Tank, there was a guy who was selling a cap, and then he
Hmm.
said he was about to get the money, and his mouth opened. I don't know why. And he
Yeah,
said, you know
he
what? I
told
want to print T-shirts also. And the
correct,
sharks
correct,
backed out because you don't want to
correct.
have too much of SP. What do you call it? SPV or whatever it is. Those.
USP.
No, 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 no. Those brand lines, or whatever those storage lines or
Understood.
whatever.
SKU, SKU.
SKU,
SKU,
right? You don't want to have so
SKUs,
many of them
too
because
many SKUs.
then, one thing that you do best in your life that helps you make money, that's something is your bread and butter. Until you
Understood.
diversify is the time when you think little laterally
All of
about
this
it.
comes
So,
in. So that's the thing. I mean,
so
next
yeah.
3, 4 years we have a plan set, but
You
post
guys are
that,
young. You guys will
thinking.
do
Yeah.
well. In the interest of time, we are 41 minutes into this, so I will
Correct.
just stop it. And it was a great
Sure.
conversation. In fact, everybody, Alejandro was
Likewise.
also great. I thought it's a good conversation I had. I'm stopping the recording, okay?
Sure.
But wait for the picture. Don't go off.